It's another first alert weather day here in western Colorado, all because of the red flag warnings, which are going into effect today, 9 a.m. to midnight, and again tomorrow on the exact same timeline, all because humidity values are really down low into the single digits. Speeds of wind could get again to 20-30 miles an hour on average, but the gusts could get up to 50 miles an hour. Fire is an issue, or at least fire weather, and this extends all the way to Eagle County. And Eagle County has already seen a fire of their own. They saw a fire right outside Wolcott, which was about 10 acres, shutting down the westbound lanes of I-70 just a day ago, and that actually mandated some mandatory evacuation. So this is not an empty threat. This is one that poses a serious risk to us here in western Colorado, especially because we are so dry. And on top of that red flag warning, we also have a wind advisory. That wind advisory is expected to be about 30 miles an hour on average for Grand Junction, but those gusts could get all the way up to 50 miles an hour. Extends all the way down to the Four Corners area, but in Grand Junction around 4 p.m. 30-mile-per-hour gusts are our average, which means that we have a good amount of gusts above 30 miles an hour, allowing us to get that again high, and then our lows, our low gust values will certainly make an impact as well. So secure any objects you don't want flying away, but this is a bad thing in terms of fire weather, because if you think about striking a match against that matchbox, that's the same thing we're doing here. We're moving dry air against dry ground. And just how dry are we? Well, the year-to-date precipitation, we've only seen since the start of January here in Grand Junction, a total of 2.2 inches of moisture. The normal for that in here in the Grand Junction area, according to the National Weather Service and the climatology unit, would be about 4.16 inches, which means we've only seen 53% of the moisture we should have seen since January to now. And that is one sad number. Our drought is very serious, and that means, again, the heat is not helping. Today, Grand Junction expects to reach 100 degrees. The Delta area will reach 101, but if you're anything like me, you might go out for walks with your pets later in the afternoon hours, and maybe that's because it's after work and it's also a Friday, which means you have a little extra time on your hands. You're looking at the 100-degree air temperature equating to 140 degrees for paws on asphalt, and the concrete is about 125 degrees. The grass is 105, and even the grass that's in the shade could sit at 90 degrees, given that 100 degrees is that air temperature. So later this afternoon is a horrible time to walk your pets, and make sure that you're protecting those paws, because paws can burn in as little as 5 minutes at 120 degrees. So be careful and walk your dogs or animals this morning rather than later this afternoon. You yourself need to drink lots of water, but thankfully the weather setup, our thermal ridge, is actually shifting off to the east. This is the high pressure ridge, which is responsible for all the warmth and all the wind. It's shifting off to the east over the next several days, as you can see here, and that means we will be sharing the warmth with the other half of the country while we actually get this low pressure trough, some cooler temperatures down into Colorado. You can see the color gradient changing right there. So we'll have some shifting going on in the near future. Thankfully, we're getting rid of that heat and we'll return to proper temperatures before you know it. But your high temperatures today, 100 degrees in Grand Junction. Remember to stay hydrated and take some breaks from the sun if you work outside. You're expecting 101 in the Delta area, 96 in Montrose, and 94 in Cortez. And then your lows overnight, you're expecting 66 in Grand Junction, 60 in Delta, 62 in Montrose, and 50 in Cortez. So overall, we are not seeing much cooling overnight either. In just a moment, all of your 7-day forecasts.
As an emergency room physician, I worked in level 1 trauma centers for years. I know what happens back there. One ambulance after another, with injured patients and lives that are changed forever. I understand. I took care of those people. Thank you. Now, as an attorney, my team and I care for the same people, but in a different way, working to get our clients' lives back to normal. If you've been injured, our medical and legal expertise provides a unique advantage. Ramos Law. What makes us different makes us better.
On your Friday, you're expecting a first alert weather day. So today, because of the heat and the fire danger, a first alert weather day, it'll carry into your Saturday as well. And Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, you're starting the next week off on a better foot. Things will be back to climatology, which is just a fancy way to say things will be back to normal. So our temperatures will cool down into the lower 90s, and that starts as of Sunday. But in the meantime, Montrose is expecting 96 degrees, and on your Saturday, about 92. You are expecting first alert weather days both days. No moisture in the near near future, unfortunately, so we could use a little bit of precipitation. We don't have any, so we're going to do with what we have, but warm temperatures today, so stay cool and regulate your time outside. The Delta area 101 Saturday, about 98. So first alert weather days, both days, really warm temperatures, but we will cool back down to normal in the near future as we'll get back down to the 90s. And then if we take a peek at what's going on in Cortez, 94 degrees today, but before you know it, you'll be back in the 80s, but the wind sticks around at least for the next 2 days.